Nerds and geeks back at it again. It is the legendary Nerd-O-Roundtable, and you already know what time it is. Time for a spoilerific review of Spider-Man Brand New Day, no holds bar. Yes, we got a lot of black faces here, so we will absolutely be addressing Marvel's missteps in their cancellations. We will get to that, but first, we have got to hit you in the motherfucking mouth with this Spider-Man review. Yours truly, King Nerdiverse into Wallace Sharp in the building. Thomas Talking Cunningham, how you doing, good sir?
I am swinging on webs through every borough of New York.
Ryan Twitch Master McBain.
Happy birthday, Mom. I love you.
Happy birthday, Miss McBain. Mo Kelly, what you feeling?
Let me just say this. I love Spider-Man, and anyone who didn't love this movie is wrong. Enjoy your night.
Okay, so we already know that Mo and I might be on opposite ends of this conversation. Dr. Liz from the freeway.
Hi, everyone.
With the bucket. You already know what time it is because I was waiting for the bucket. And tonight we have a special guest, my brother from another mother. I've known this man for about 25, 30 years now. We started back in the day at 92.3 The Beat, turned 100.3 The Beat. He went off to New York and was making major things happening in the imaging world for iHeartRadio. And then we pieced up again back at iHeartRadio in LA while Mo and I were on KFI. He was the imaging and sound director for Real 92.3. So anything you ever heard on Real 92.3, Big Boy, any of that shit, that was all Sifu Quasi. Sifu Quasi is a martial arts master, man, who I remember his martial arts journey back in the day. We were having a conversation in the hallway. He was like, man, I think I'm going to get into this. And he went hard in the paint. Hard in the paint.
You got a great memory, brother, and aged me well. Thank you, brother.
Yeah,
wait.
Good to see y'all.
Congratulations.
And he's newly married.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Newly married. Host of Kung Fu Chronicles. Kung Fu Chronicles.
Yes,
what days does it air, Quaz?
Well, we basically just do videos that drop every week with new interviews and different segments and stuff like that. So you can check us out.
Masterful conversations with some of the most revered martial artists known to man, whether it be on television, film, or just grandmasters and Sifus in their own right. Kung Fu Chronicles is a masterful podcast, and I absolutely love watching it. So make sure you check out Kung Fu Chronicles. And Quasi is also a fellow nerd. He has joined Mo and I downstairs in the KFI hallways with some serious drag out superhero eargasm battles. It's been wild. And he is joining us for this Spider-Man Brand New Day cast. And I will be quite possibly maybe one of the only dissenting voices in saying this is a great Spider-Man movie. Everything having to do with Spider-Man was phenomenal. This is one of the best showings we've ever seen of Spider-Man. Even the web swinging, it was dizzying. I felt I was in the air with him. Unfortunately, and something that I had said from the beginning is that this film, because of the trailers, looks like it is a bit Sony-fied, and it was. It was Sony-fied in that Sony has no interest in keeping up with anything having to do with the MCU or anything we know. And that is why you shoehorn in several of the characters that we had no need for in this film. The Hand did not need to be in this film, didn't need to be a focus of this film. And everything we know about the Hand was betrayed. The Incredible Hulk, not really necessary. And Jean Grey, spoiler, that is who Homegirl is. Jean Grey did not have to be in this fucking movie at all. That is a humongous problem in this movie and this story.
I do have questions, but
so wait, Quasi, because I'm literally everything he just said was absolutely wrong. So here's the challenge. Okay, first of all, you can't think that Sony wanted Hulk to be in this movie. There's a misconception that just because Sony pays for it and Sony gets to distribute it, Sony has no story control.
Yeah.
This was a Marvel movie. And there were reasons for each of these people, these characters that you just disparaged, to be included. So let's take the first one. Okay, the hand. The hand that he's not an asshole. And ultimately, at the end of the day, if you thought
can't, but Tom, to say that you can actually do that with the hand is a betrayal. The hand isn't coming to work for some government organization. They're also not walking around in their ninja outfits.
Is it the whole hand?
We saw,
or is it pieces of the hand? Because just like Elektra broke out of the free influence of the hand, all I'm saying is,
Tom, get it out so we can then respond.
So we can move on. Hold on. Then, as far as Jean Grey not needing to be in this movie, explain to me how you get MJ to kiss Peter Parker without a person controlling her, because she did not know who Peter was. And that moment,
there are several. I will tell you why. Go ahead.
There are several people who can anchor the future franchise that they need to bank on next. No, there aren't.
Oh,
the only one who can anchor the X-Men, which is what this movie was about equally, which is also why it definitely wasn't a Sony movie. Because if Sony didn't care about anything Disney was doing, they definitely wouldn't have put an X-Men in there. But Feige cared, and Feige wanted another New York-based character who has psychic powers and who also is a cornerstone of the next major direction of the entire MCU to be in this picture to springboard them, because she is going to be either in Doomsday or Secret Wars. And we know we're getting Storm in Black Panther 3, and we've already announced who the casting is for Beast, and they just announced that
none of that stuff is factual, because it hasn't been confirmed. So let's not go off of it.
Okay, let's just go with the one that we have. We know we have Jean Grey,
which is a problem.
We know we have Jean Grey.
You know Jean Grey is a problem. You know
she isn't a problem.
It's a problem to throw her in this film right now and then put her on a bus to La La Land in the end of the film with no clear direction.
She's not going to La La Land. She's going to Westchester.
Not what you think. No, Tom. You don't know that. You have no idea where she's going. She was.
And you don't know where she's going either.
You have no idea.
What makes story sense? What makes story sense is that a newly empowered master telepath is aware of the presence of another telepath who is Charles Xavier. That makes sense.
We don't know that, Tom. No, Tom, that's your own conjecture.
We know no. Hold on. I'm saying what makes story sense. We haven't seen the first X-Men movie, right? But if mutants exist on this planet, on the 616 MCU planet, Charles Xavier is older. He's always been older than the students he recruited. Okay? We haven't seen a genesis of mutants, but we know Kamala Khan technically is canon now, a mutant. So other mutants exist. Whether or not Scott Summers has emerged or Scott Summers is still someplace else, Xavier probably, because Xavier's not coming from another dimension.
They're all every mutant in this universe is a variant. Every single one, Tom.
Well,
because
no. Sadie Sink isn't a variant. Jean Grey isn't a variant.
Sadie Sink is
absolutely not a variant either.
How is whoa? How is Sadie Sink a variant?
Sadie Sink is a variant because the X-Men exist in their prime universe, the universe that will be crashing in Doomsday.
She's already in this. She's already in this universe.
But again, you've shoehorned her in because you've given us nothing else to it. It's not conjecture.
That's conjecture. It
Tom,
is.
It's not.
You don't have any evidence that she is a variant. Or from it.
No.
Let's call her just another.
We actually know. We actually know that the original X universe is from the X films. All that is where the X.
That's Famke Johnson as Jean Grey. That's not Sadie Sink. That's Famke Johnson. Is Jean Grey in the original Foxverse? And the Foxverse.
But Tom, are you denying that that's where the original X characters are? There are no X-Men in this universe. In the 616, X-Men don't exist.
They don't exist yet. They aren't named yet, but Sadie Sink is not from the Foxverse. You have no evidence that Sadie Sink is from the Foxverse because she's not.
But Tom, we know
Famke Johnson was 40 years old as Jean Grey in the Foxverse.
But that's where the X universe exists. The X universe exists in the Fox world. Everything X exists there.
We know it dies.
So, but that's where the originals are.
Of Doomsday.
So if you're not from that universe, you're a variant.
But Sadie Sink is from the 616.
Okay, moving forward, guys.
She's introduced. Okay,
but
the last thing. Marvel can't have a Hulk film. Fans want Hulk. They want World War Hulk. They want Savage Hulk. The Professor Hulk, nobody gives a fuck about. This was the first time since Ragnarok that we've seen a real Hulk, not a Hulk that got punked by goddamn Thanos. This is real Hulk.
Twice.
And this was an amazing presentation
I
of
have no
Hulk.
problem with the Hulk.
So
the Hulk was great.
Again, if you want to thread the very delicate needle of doing what the previous MCU films in this phase have not done, which is weave a thread throughout multiple films to get somewhere, you have to start fighting it again. Just like Hawkeye was introduced in Thor, just like Black Widow was introduced in Iron Man 2. You bring in characters that are going to push the narrative forward after. Yeah. And so the reason I know she's headed to Westchester is that there's no other place for her to be headed. Just like when we ended No Way Out, you had to pick up with Peter being confused and angry and upset about his space in the world. You couldn't just do a Scorpion film like, Scorpion wasn't in it enough. Scorpion doesn't do anything. The only thing that advances the universe forward and prepares for the next phase, which is absolutely what the MCU needed, was to introduce an X-Men, which is a New York-based group. You intro one mutant. We know that there are other mutants already because Kamala Khan has been called a mutant. And you say, okay, she's 16. She's young.
And America.
She is.
America Chavez?
Yeah.
Chavez.
Well,
Jean Grey.
And Namor.
Jean Grey is young as hell.
She's from another. Isn't America from another? Her parents.
Yeah, but she popped in. But she popped into this universe.
I'm just saying, but she's not. She can be. She is. Well, she may be a Nexus being, so maybe she's not a variant. Yeah. But she's from not 616. I'm talking about people who were born on 616.
And unfortunately, in Doomsday, as the trailer suggests. In Doomsday, as the trailer suggests, what Reed Richards says in the trailer, and he introduced the idea that the incursions are colliding. That's what's bringing the X-Men into the 616, who are all old as shit, who cannot exist in the exact same world as Sadie Sink's Jean Grey.
Which is why they're going to be killed. That's the whole point.
Exist.
But that's fan service. That's Stewart and McKellen and whatever his name is, Cyclops. That's all fan service.
If all of them are dying in his fan service, then it's going to be and if it's not as disparaged and absolutely hated as it was in Multiverse of Madness when they just brought in all those characters to kill them, because that's what pissed everyone off.
But
everyone was pissed off because those characters were brought in for no reason.
But I would disagree with that. That's not a great comparison, because at the time, Multiverse of Madness didn't really connect with anything else. The only consequence of Multiverse of Madness that actually still matters is the fact that Wanda isn't dead. We haven't seen Clea. We haven't seen Doctor Strange again. The only thing that matters is that she was supposed to be dead, and now we're realizing she's not dead. Because she's confirmed not dead.
If that's the case, then the X-Men being in Doomsday is stupid, and it doesn't make sense if none of them are going to carry over into the Sadie X-Men that we're going to see.
Everybody knew they were being recasting.
So that's whack. Yes,
but it isn't whack though, because you've got to give a send off. You've got to give a send off to Patrick and McKellen. You've got to, and there's no reason not to, because a cameo is a cameo, and it's fan service. So they don't have to.
I don't know if you have to. Fan service has done us dirty before. Fan service did us dirty in Multiverse of Madness. That was all fan service, and it was whack. Every last bit of it.
It was whack.
All of that was calm. You cannot say that.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm not defending you brought Multiverse of Madness in. You know what wasn't whack? Deadpool versus Wolverine. Fan service. Deadpool fuck off. And so much so that Gambit is in this film.
But why is Gambit in this film connected to the X-Men?
I'm not saying he is. That's an incursion. That's an incursion thing or a Deadpool thing.
Yes.
But that Gambit was never on the 616 world. You're saying that Sadie Sink cannot exist because Famke Janssen's Jean Grey existed in the Foxverse. The Foxverse is going away. That's the whole point. They don't want the Foxverse anymore. They want to bring everything into the 616.
What about Jean Grey being in this film? There's no Jean Grey point to her being in this film if you're just going to do an X universe. why this film wasn't about starting off in X-Men universe.
No, it's about introducing the X-Men into the sacred timeline, the 616. You're
Let's
not
move
doing
around,
your own
guys.
universe. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Other people weigh in. I know Mo's a big fan. I know Ryan has problems. Liz has been wanting to jump in. I'm just saying. You're muted.
So I disagree when it comes to the hand. I think that the hand was absolutely necessary, because how do you say that Spider-Man has eliminated all of the crime and the biggest crime syndicate was the hand? And so to have the hand under control kind of highlights the fact that you were to allow allowing that Spider-Man was able to solve all of crime's problems. I think my gripe is not the fact that the hand is, I love this movie, first of all, I just put that out there. But I think that the Daredevil being missing sucks.
Yes.
And you have the hand so prominently placed in the film with no Daredevil, that's a problem. No one. If the Daredevil, if the hand becomes an issue in this film, and you have no inclusion of Daredevil, who could not stop them by himself, and Spider-Man somehow cleaned up the hand, an international organization, that's
it wasn't the whole
part of the hand.
It was part of the hand. It wasn't the entire hand. Nobody ever said that.
The hand doesn't roll with just 15 people, Tom. You know that. The hand is not.
I didn't mean to go down this road. I was just saying that I liked the fact that the hand. I didn't have a problem with the hand being there, but I'm just saying that Daredevil being missing sucked, especially since we saw Daredevil last movie.
No, you saw Matt Murdock.
You saw Matt Murdock. You didn't see Daredevil.
And that's important, because that's true. We're going to come back.
There's a big distinction.
Okay. In the words of Peter Parker, he's both.
But he's also in jail. In the words of the mayor of New York and the governor. He's in jail.
And the mayor of New York.
Well, really quick, do we know the timelines match with the Daredevil series and this movie?
It's 4 years after.
I get that.
Brand New Day.
Right.
What we don't know absolutely, except that we know that the mayor of New York is the person who inherited the title from Fisk. We don't know when he gets the key to the city in the overall montage. We don't know if it's 2 years or if it's 3 years. It was before Ned said it's our last year at MIT. That's what we know. It was before that. But whether or not Daredevil going to jail happens 3 years into the events of Brand New Day montage, we don't really know. It hasn't been reconciled. But what we do know is that it's after Daredevil season 2, Born Again season 2.
Yeah. Can I interject something? I think we are doing ourselves a disservice if we do not acknowledge that there is a corporate aspect to this, where it is a Sony movie first and foremost, which means that how it's going to be marketed, how the story is going to be told, even though it's an MCU movie, Sony is still pulling the lever on the final cut. And we know that Sony does not play nice with Marvel Productions. We know that, or at least in my showing, tell me if I'm wrong, they did not show the Avengers Doomsday trailer. They were not going to promote anything.
And they did not say he'll return in anything related to the MCU. He'll just be back.
Right. They showed the first one, not the new one.
I didn't see any.
I didn't see it.
They didn't show it at all.
Yeah, in my showing, they showed the first one.
No, they were. I was in the theater 30 minutes before showtime.
I saw nothing but Sony movies.
Well, before he gets away, the point is, Sony has been very heavy-handed. And I don't know the negotiations, but I'm quite sure Sony said this is not going to be a Marvel Disney Plus fest, where you're not going to have all the characters that you want. There probably was a line item delineating how many Marvel/Disney Plus characters you could have. They didn't even refer to Frank Castle as Punisher. He was just Frank. For the whole movie. You know, you had
he had the Punisher outfit, but
right. But if you go back to the last Spider-Man movie, I mean, you had you have a number of Marvel characters, but there's a cap on how many that you can have. They were not going to allow you to have Hulk, Daredevil, and Punisher when it's a Sony vehicle which is about promoting Sony characters. That's why I think you got the montage, because Scorpion goes back to the Sony Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming. And so I believe that there's this jostling and negotiation where we'll give you Frank Castle / Punisher, but you're not getting Daredevil / Matt Murdock. That's all.
Or Kingpin.
Right.
Or another person. Kingpin is off the board because he's in a foreign country. He's been exiled. So you weren't going to get it.
I don't need him.
And he's
didn't need Kingpin.
Yeah, no, he's completely out of play for this movie.
Well, I think
you've invested 5 seasons of freaking TV shows in him being Daredevil's big guy. He's not going to automatically become, just because the comic books, he also fought him. And yes, Spider-Man did some really rude shit to Kingpin. I'd love to see Spider-Man threatening to fill his lungs with web fluid. I'd love to see him backhand the shit out of him in jail. That would be awesome, but it wasn't going to happen.
The shit out of Kingpin. Yeah, you don't need Kingpin in this film unless you are going to keep Spider-Man street level. It would have been better if they would have actually had a villain, i.e., Mr. Negative, which they kept trying to tease that Martin Lau or Mr. Negative was going to be in this film, and Mr. Negative does have mind control ability to influence people to do what he wants. That is what his power set is. So I think it would have been
the skipping wouldn't have worked.
No. Yeah, the skipping definitely would work unless they were going to alter people's powers, which they altered Jean Grey's powers because her powers would have manifested as at a teenager, and she wouldn't have still been skipping, into her, late teens, early 20s. She would have already been there. No, she's young though. She is young. She's not. I mean, Sadie Sink is in her early 20s, I think, but Jean Grey, 22. I think, is a teenager. We didn't get an age on her. No, Sarah looked older, but I think Sarah's actually younger. She was certainly younger in the comic books. The traumatic event that really unleashed the full measure of her telepathic, in this instance, her telepathic and telekinetic powers, was her realization that her sister was dead. So in the
which happened in the comics, by the way,
right? Yeah. Well, it was her friend, but the sister came in later. It was a friend.
Car crash or something that.
Yeah, it was a car crash.
And she felt it, and then all of the stuff was going in her head, and Charles swoops in and knocks her powers off and all that. So she was really a weak character. But now, 65 years later, everybody knows that Jean is a powerhouse. So you don't start with her being a weeping willow. You don't start with her being Sue Storm in the 60s, where Sue Storm could barely make herself invisible without having a heart attack. You prep her to be fucking Jean Grey. And that's what they did. She froze a square kilometer of New York City with her psychic powers, which is pretty damned impressive. And that's a good way to scale her up. And since we know, what we do know is that the mutant saga is the next phase. And we know that Doomsday / Secret Wars is eliminating, by and large, the multiverse. They have all of their characters now in one place. They don't have to have any separate universes. They didn't want to they hadn't figured out, how are we going to recreate the X-Men, especially Wolverine? Wolverine's the one thing. And Deadpool is the one thing from another universe that's going to survive in the 616. Whether or not he remains, a fully fourth wall character is an open question, but probably he will be. So if you decide you're going to reboot the X-Men, and we know that's happening because they're recasting all of the X-Men, you're not going to have Patrick Stewart and another Professor Xavier. You're just going to have the new Professor Xavier. Everybody's going to be in their 20s so that they can do movies for the next 10, 12 years. So everybody in the Foxverse is done. They're just done.
No, I know they're done. Got
so
that.
That's why the question of, you're not creating a new Fox universe. You're creating the X-Men.
You're creating the X-Men universe, and that's why for me
it's not a universe. It's just the 616.
I mean, you're just bringing them into the 616, or you're just having your own X universe within the 616. That's why I think for me the inclusion of the X-Men or the 819 X-Men in Doomsday is such a cheat going into the film, and it, to me, it pisses me off if you introduce the heaviest hitter in the X-Men, literally the heaviest hitter in damn near in all of X history, with Jean Grey, knowing who she becomes and knowing what her power is, introducing a character this heavy in this film, and then just putting her on a bus in the end. And yes, we can assume she went to Westchester, but you know what, Tom? As you said with Barracuda, they could have said something. We didn't have to assume. It could have been it could have actually just been a mental, hey, Gene, come to Westchester, would have had the audience go crazy, Tom. And you know that.
But
know
that
something should have been done to tell
where they
us.
opened up the door and she stands up.
If it had been the after credit scene, I will say this. I think from a story perspective, and this is just me, I have written a screenplay that's been produced. I have done coverage on screenplays. From a story perspective,
your ass just had to throw that in there, didn't you?
Yes.
I mean, I'm just saying, there's a small segment of the population that nobody would be upset, right, if she pulled up to a mansion. It doesn't even have to say the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters.
That's all
you don't. But here's the thing: you have to give yourself wiggle room to how you're going to do it. She's going upstate New York. That's where she's going. Okay. They frame the camera so it looks like they're going north. That's what they do. It's a bucolic scene.
It looks like it.
It looks like they're going to Westchester. So people like me is like, she's going to Westchester. And then people who want to say, but I want to see the Xavier plaque. Well, you're about to see the Xavier plaque when that mansion gets destroyed.
Yeah, but Tom.
And here's the thing: when your story is built on incursions, you have to have the other universes, and we know incursions cause universes to die. So since you know incursions cause universes to die, all right. So don't sit there in this film and just have us assume, as you, Tom. You have said you could have easily done something to make it plain. That's the whole argument we had with the whole Barracuda inclusion in Punisher One Last Kill. If you remember, you clearly said they could have done something to let us either know who he is or to just not let our minds wander. They could have done something to make that clear, and that would have been more satisfying. You all, because I'm not a big Daredevil person. You all were geeked that Barracuda was in there. And my biggest problem with Barracuda is that he never fought Punisher. That was my bigger problem. She called him Barry, which is fine, whatever. But my problem wasn't that they didn't call him Barracuda. My problem was that he didn't do any Barracuda shit. He just picked her up and put her in the car.
Tom,
he was supposed to be this incomparable badass.
What you have literally said is you could have put something in there to let us know. You didn't have to just let us guess or assume or anything else. That's all I'm saying with Jean Grey.
You guys did know.
Yes, and you said for the audience and everyone else, you could have just put something in there so that we know. It could have been a bald dude in a chair who just goes, I felt that psychotic move.
Calling him Barracuda to a non-Daredevil fan doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything other than he's Barry. The problem that I had was that Punisher. The problem I had was that Barracuda was supposed to be Jack Reacher and the bald black man. And he didn't do anything. He didn't kick ass. He basically ran away. That's not how you introduce a character that you all say. He put her in a fucking car and drove away.
You make it seem like he was scared or something.
I didn't say that. I said he ran away. I didn't say he was scared. And by the way, he didn't even throw a punch. So how the fuck are we supposed to know?
Okay,
that's a very big difference in Jean Grey being explicitly named on camera.
Hold on, Tom.
And you could have had something in there to just have that whole psychic blast. If you just would have had a bald head, just put fingers to the head from behind, something so that the audience can go, oh shit, versus putting her on a bus and just, she's going upstate.
But I think that the bus, I would have liked the mansion, but I can live without it. But my whole gripe, I like this movie. I said it before, and I think I don't know if it's my favorite Spider-Man out of the four. But I will say that I do think that Tom Holland did an excellent job in acting in this one. He had to do a lot of heavy lifting when it comes to the emotional aspect of this. You have seen him grow as a character from the first one in Homecoming to this, which you now see him as a full-grown man. I think the reason why I may like Homecoming the most in general is because these movies have gotten so heavy when it comes to interlocking all these other aspects of the movie. Even though I know people enjoyed it who are not possibly who haven't watched Daredevil. Like I even, my daughter loved it, but she's never seen anything with Daredevil. And so I'm like, how do you like it? But I mean, it's gotten so interconnected, so much so to the point that there's a lot of inward fan service that this kind of produces, like you guys were just debating over the mansion or not the mansion. Yeah, it's an interplug for people who know, but for people who are just on the skirts of the outside, there's a lot of stuff they missed because they just really, I mean, there's a different level of enjoying it. I'm not saying that that's a negative per se, but I do appreciate watching a movie for watching the movie and enjoying it just to enjoy it without having to do this heavy. Now, this is a different level of heavy intersectionality, in my opinion, than some of these other movies. But I do think that there is a lot because it's a lot of street level. And so to me, it also lends to, gosh dang it, I would have liked more street level. Just because, and I know that I understand Mo's perspective and he's right on the business scene. But gosh darn it, there are things that I would have loved that are missing, just like the different characters that are missing. And it's only because you introduce all these other elements that lets me know that he's fully aware that all these other people exist, but I can't see him.
It would have been a lot more fun, I think, as a Spider-Man film. For me, this all of my critiques of this film do not take away from the fact that I still think that this was the best of the Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland. I wanted more street level interactions. I knew it was all the villains we saw in the trailer. I knew there were going to be a montage. Massive shout out to Marvin Crondon Jones. His portrayal of
Crondon
was phenomenal. I'm
That
like,
was
yo,
dope.
dude, he knocked out the park, and of all the villains, outside of Scorpion, he's the only one who got some real shine.
That was dope.
I love his portrayal, and I thought that was really dope, and it's really dope to see. But I really did want a more grounded Spider-Man film, which is why I was looking forward to, and that's my own fault for going in hoping for Mr. Negative, because Mr. Negative keeps it 100% on the street and keeps the fight there. It keeps the fight in the hood. It keeps him, in that realm. I like the inclusion of Bruce Banner, and I love seeing when he hulked out and he looked up and was like, I didn't know you could get that big. I was cheering. I was like, this is Savage Hulk. That shit was great. I just wanted more street level shit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was a dope surprise.
Can I ask you guys real quick? Just real quick.
I want to turn it over to you, Quasi, because you had 11 questions, and I'm sorry we went.
No. I just want to ask real quick, because while you guys are in the mix of this, are characters actually missing, or doesn't it come to after a point? It's a budgetary thing, because how do you get as much as you want to see Daredevil, Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio may not be available, and then he's got a price tag, and then the guy who plays Daredevil is not available, he's got a price tag, and we want to see all these people.
Is available.
Well, okay, sure, but I'm just saying of people that you would want to see that makes sense. To me, the omission is
a new show.
You don't have the Daredevil with we have the Hand and no Daredevil. So, but again, I'm just asking, you guys probably would know more. Is like
it's a contract thing.
Yeah,
to Mo's point, they have no.
And that's what I'm saying. So they work around it by like, we want these characters, but some aren't available, and it's a budget.
Okay.
But it's also a story thing, though.
Okay,
that's fair.
The best way I can describe it is this. I'm sorry, Tom. The best way I can describe it is this. Marvel and Sony, they're fuck buddies. That's what they are. They're friends with benefits. One doesn't really want to help out the other, but they need each other.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
So, but it's important to say that if fan service is Easter eggs, fan service is throwing in things to make people happy. If you have a major character like Night Nurse shot a scene, they cut it. Night Nurse certainly wasn't somebody that Sony probably cared about. It could have been because maybe she's associated with Kingpin or whatever. But Night Nurse would have been a nice little piece of service because she's street level and she's connective tissue. But none of these things that you all seem to be asking for would have served the story. They all would have been about, oh, it's nice to see this person on screen. The story was about two things. Peter Parker finding his place without Tony Stark. This is the first time we saw him before he met Tony in a regular ass suit.
Yeah.
No extra gadgets. Okay. So the story was about Peter Parker reestablishing.
A few gadgets.
Well, he had the thing, but he had, the web shooters are his though.
But he still had the AI that Tony inherited.
No. That wasn't the same AI.
But you know what I'm saying? He still had some stuff. But I get your point.
We're given to believe that's not Edith, that's Evie. He made his own AI that he was using with his little guy. Anyway,
with no job.
Right, no, keep going.
No money.
Well, like I said, go web me. He's getting go web me donations.
Okay,
so,
apparently.
But the point is, Peter reestablishing himself in his world without MJ, but missing MJ. Okay? That's story point one. That is the whole point of this movie. And then story point two is basically him evolving so we can have organic webs and be stronger. That's the undercurrent. Those two things are what this whole movie was about. Every single thing, the inclusion of every quote unquote side character. You had having a raging Hulk, having him need to use something that inhibits, and he decides he needs to be inhibited. Bruce Banner is a genius level biological, radiation expert.
And he's alive.
And who?
He's alive. Like you can't have Tony because he's dead.
Correct. And so you have the other scientific genius who is not the Hulk anymore. He's just the inhibited guy. Every person in this story helped to advance the story. Just saying, oh, I would have loved to have seen this person. Okay, great. But Tarantula, Tombstone, Ramrod, Scorpion, all of them, Scorpion served two purposes because Scorpion was a montage guy, but then Scorpion also got possessed by Jean. And so we got to see more of Scorpion. Scorpion and Tombstone, those are people you will probably see in future movies. Okay. Especially if Sony decides they can try to pimp Scorpion into his own little anti-hero bullshit.
Please don't.
Please fuck it up. Please fuck it up so that he has to come back to Spider-Man. But the point is that just putting fan service and wanting fan service to be a focal point of plot doesn't move the story. You got to start with the story and then fill in the blanks. The story did not suffer by not having.
I didn't say that
saying that, Tom. None of us are saying that we're knocking the movie. We're not. We all like the movie. We're just saying it would have been nice. That's all we're saying.
I mean, Tuala's kind of shitting on it.
I've actually wiped my ass with a lot of the ideas that I didn't like.
Squat.
But I know I'm not in the writing room. I definitely dug a hole in the ground and shat. As they do in certain parts of Asia into the hole of these ideas that I didn't like. But if you start a story where Spider-Man is fighting crime and he's cleaning up crime, you could have had a major Marvel crime figure from the Spider-Man universe for him to face off against that would have been a bigger challenge that has been a big challenge for Spider-Man. If you would have had a character like Mr. Negative, who was from the neighborhood, who has everyone under his wrap, using his power to influence and control people, his connection to the hand specifically, all of that would have been great. You did not have to go the direction that they did. And for me, that is when you have a studio like Sony, which is still run by Amy Pascal, who still has her own ideas, and you may think that she doesn't have any influence. I say you're out of your mind.
No, here's the thing.
Pascal doesn't.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Here's the thing.
Say yes to Jean Grey as a major character because Sony can benefit from that on some level. They still have rights to that character.
So they don't have.
And wait, can I just say this too? Here, can I just say something real fast? Here's the thing: the problem that Sony/Marvel wrote themselves into kind of a corner because you had 3 movies before where you've introduced a lot of Spider-Man's rogue gallery. You already had the Vulture. You already had Doc Ock, even though it's different Earths. You've already had the Goblin. So, like you're saying, Tawala, it would have been nice to see another, Spider-Man villain in it. But you kind of almost shot your load with all these previous movies. So now it would be redundant to see like the Goblin, Mr. Negative, cool, but you know what I mean. Not many people know who that is. You need a marquee villain in these films. Let's be honest, to draw the crowd.
You needed a marquee villain, and if they're going to do more Spider-Man movies, and even Tom Holland himself he has recently come out to say that him and Marvel, when they sat down under this new contract, they have written it so that he has a graceful exit from the franchise, and he would like to see the baton pass to someone else. That doesn't necessarily mean Miles Morales, even though yes, that's who we would all like to see. That it could be, Spider-Gwen. It could be a bunch of different character that he wants to pass the franchise to. But for a Spider-Man movie, if you have 3 movies in line, what you should have done with this film to lead us in a direction of Spider-Man, not X-Men, Spider-Man, because in the end of this film, he's still Spider-Man. He's getting back out and he's like, you know what? I'm going to be Spider-Man. You should have already started building up your Sinister Six finale with Spider-Man. And in the way that he was able to pass the baton to Miles is when he had that final showdown, the Ultimate Universe, with the Sinister Six, falling at the hands of the Green Goblin, and that is when he passed the baton to Miles. What you should have done is done that. You should have led us in a direction that can have more of a Spider-Man story, not a Jean Grey story, nothing else.
But again,
can I get in here real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
Okay. If you would have told me 20 years ago that we'd get a movie with Spider-Man, the Hulk, Punisher, and Jean Grey duking it out, I would have said you're out of your goddamn mind. We are all very lucky. Yes, I would have liked to have seen more stuff, but that's fine. It's just something that I would like to have seen. I'm not knocking the movie. I'm not bashing the movie for it, even though I like No Way Home more because I'm a sucker for nostalgia. This movie's great. I really like the movie. And this is coming from someone who doesn't give a damn about Spider-Man. I don't care. I never really cared about the character, but you got me emotionally interested. And beginning of the movie, I'm laying back in my recliner. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. Peter's going through some stuff. Yeah, I know life sucks. Yada, yada, yada. I felt that way until MJ and Peter on the rooftop. Peter kisses MJ, and he is so
that was horrible. Yeah.
No, he's so happy. I felt that shit. He was so happy. Like finally, Peter's finally found some happiness. And then it finds out that Jean Grey is controlling MJ. So I went from my recliner, I went from this, leaning into the movie and going, you raggedy bitch. I was angry.
I was
fucking mad. You know what that is, McBain?
I really
That's writing.
That
is story, and that is plot.
My whole point.
And that's the thing. And by the way,
that's how you're supposed to feel, right?
At some point, Tom Holland was talking about passing the torch. Last week, in an interview with a Hollywood Reporter, he said, I quote, "This has been the gift of my life, and I will do it for as long as they'll have me. So if this movie does good, I guess we'll see." It did $1 billion on the opening weekend.
It's about to be $1 billion movie, guys. It's about to do $1 billion. It's going to be another $1 billion. Yeah.
This is $1 billion.
And by the way, sorry to interject, but this is going to answer the question of, is it about superhero fatigue? No, it's about good story. When it's a good story, people will go see it.
Yes,
I don't care about no superhero fatigue. When it's a crap story, no one's going to go watch the movie. It's just that simple. Write a good movie, people will go see the fucking movie.
Look, I saw this shit twice in one day.
I'm sorry, Ryan. I'm so sorry, Ryan. I did not care. I am I'm
Liz, you're heartless, Liz.
My emotional.
Liz, you are heartless. You are heartless.
You didn't care about that part? Dr. Liz, you didn't like that part?
Liz, you are lying.
They were trying their best to get me to cry in this
what
movie
is your problem, Liz?
No.
And I was like,
what?
Okay, hold on.
Oh,
just 2 more points.
Poor baby.
Let me get out of here.
And then I drank my drink.
Wait, can I tell you?
Go ahead,
really quick. My
ahead.
wife is not a big superhero nerd. Even she was like, "Man, that's just cruel." When like she's up on the roof with him, and you think for a second that it's really MJ, and then it's the mindfuck. It's not MJ. Just like Peter said, it's like you're a monster if you knew how much I love this woman, and what you did was so cruel. I thought I had her back, and you took that from me. That's just cruel. I mean, even if you didn't cry, that's just there's no way if you don't like you just don't have a heart if you don't feel any emotion.
What was even colder is when she said, "There's really nothing about you in
here." Oh my God! Can I tell you that's the part of it where like the writers were so on. They just struck so many chords with this that were just on point. Like that's some great writing.
Hold on, Tom. Ryan.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so 2 more things. We're constantly asking ourselves, where's so-and-so? Where are the Avengers? Let's not forget the great interaction between Yelena and Peter.
Yeah, Yelena.
Oh, Yelena. Yeah.
Yelena. When she's telling Peter, you're just small potatoes.
Small potatoes.
Small potatoes. Right.
Small potatoes.
Big potatoes, you're small potatoes.
That whole joke, I kept on laughing. And honestly, the guy in me, I was like, yo, Peter, pass the ball, man. She's trying to smash. Pass the rock. That was fucking funny to me. Also, one more thing and I'm out. Okay, so after the Avengers trailer came out, a lot of people were saying, I don't care about these characters. And rightfully so, Marvel hasn't really given us a reason to, because they show them in a movie or a show and they forget about them. What's one good reason to get people to care about a character? I don't know. Have someone like Yelena interact with the most popular comic book character on the fucking planet in Spider-Man. People are going to see that and go, oh, she knows Spider-Man. Is she anything else? Oh, she's in Thunderbolts. Oh, she's in Hawkeye. I'll go watch that. They did the same shit in the 80s in wrestling. When you have when they wanted a wrestler to get over, what would they do? They would send Hulk Hogan's racist ass out there and shake his hand, and the whole crowd would go, ooh, wow, he's friends with Hulk Hogan. I like him now. Yay!
Come on, brother. I'm not really racist.
It's really that
I just
simple.
like white people a lot.
And I really wish Marvel would do more of it. It's really that fucking simple. To Mo's point, sorry, Tom. To Mo's point, there's no mistake. It wasn't an accident that Frank was called Frank and not Punisher. There's no mistake that you hardly saw the logo. There's no mistake that he was clean shaven and looking nothing like his character in his last Kill show. There's no mistake. That's just a simple observation that Sony's not playing nice. I love the Hulk. I don't know about you guys, but when Hulk said no Banner, no girl,
only Hulk.
Whole crowd went nuts. We only heard the name Hulk like 3 times.
Look, that's the thunderclap. Every single thing involving Hulk. When Hulk Frank came in gunning at him, all of that was one of the most amazing sequences.
One last thing. Yeah, let's give love to Ned though. The actor who played Ned, because that handshake. I don't know, man. He looked like he was doing that on instinct. That was great fucking acting.
It was muscle memory.
There was a lot of great acting in this movie. There was a lot of great acting in this movie.
So,
a lot of great acting.
And that's honestly the thing about, and it was CGI Hulk. But
obviously,
we ain't had real Hulk since Lou Ferrigno, my guy.
We get the mountain up.
What I'm trying to say is one of the most affecting parts of his performance was when Peter said, "You know me," and you saw the recognition in Hulk's eyes.
Yeah, that was.
He said, "It's me. It's Peter." Which was now that was a dope nod to Hulk remembering who, because remember.
And who else, Tawala, in the MCU could remember Peter? Exactly. No one. Hulk. He had to be in the fucking movie. So the point is, everything that we saw, okay, you don't make $927 million just because people are hyped. Yeah. You get $927 million because hype people saw this movie multiple times this week.
And it's a great movie. Yeah.
And it's a great movie. It is perfectly satisfying to see. And to that point, I think it was probably 20 minutes too long. And if you added any other shit, you would have added another 10 minutes.
Well, can I ask something really fast just before I forget?
And then they kept it going 20 minutes past.
Go ahead. You got something to slip it away.
There's just something fast I wanted to ask. I'm sorry, Dr. Liz, not to cut you off. But before I forget, because this is one of the questions I was going to ask, because I'm just confused, and maybe because you guys are more on it than me. So Hulk has the inhibitor, Banner has the inhibitor. Why does he need the inhibitor after we did Endgame and it's already established he had control of the Hulk? I was confused.
He lost control.
Yeah,
when did he lose control?
He maintained control because he figured out how to do the inhibitor. He was always at risk of getting into a situation that would be beyond his ability to.
No, but remember in Endgame when he said
but
he found a way to mutually exist.
Solution.
Yeah.
No, that was never
mentioned
that
in the movie
permanent.
as well. He mentioned like someone's in
Did
my
I miss
head.
that? Yeah, I'm
That
sorry.
pissed him off. That fucked with his head. Jean Grey getting in his head fucked with him, made him angrier, and he couldn't control it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But even before Jean Grey, even before Jean Grey got in his head, he had the inhibitor at the school. No, so that's why
she broke the inhibitor.
No. But
what I'm saying is in Endgame, he. Sorry, but just so I can get this out and you guys answer all you want. But in Endgame, there was no inhibitor. He was just explaining to the rest of them, "Hey, I found a mutual way to work with. Now the Hulk and I are together." So that's what. Where does the inhibitor come into?
Professor Hulk.
Yeah, Professor Hulk is not. Professor Hulk is not the ultimate, nor is he the de facto Hulk.
Okay.
De facto Hulk is who we saw in the Avengers. That's de facto Hulk. He learned post-snap because he was one of the people who wasn't snapped. He learned post-snap when there were far fewer threats, when there were no Avengers to have to avenge anything because everybody was gone and it was half the population. He didn't have to do as much, and so he was able to work on his thing to constrain.
I think a better answer is
even
he was Professor Hulk, but this is Banner. So in order for him to get from Professor Hulk, Banner, whichever. In order for him
Speaker
to
of the
get
House, John
to become the man, I think the inhibitor happens.
But what's interesting is the last time we saw him was in She-Hulk. And he still did not have the
inhibitor. He was Professor Hulk.
He was chilling. He was teaching She-Hulk how to do all the moves.
The inhibitor is a brand new thing that they've just introduced in this film, because even when we see him in the end of Shang-Chi, because the arm that he had the inhibitor on was the arm that he had bandaged up even in the end of Shang-Chi in that end credit scene. So the inclusion of the inhibitor and saying that he needs it to control himself is a bit odd, because we've already seen him in 3 instances where he didn't have that.
Because you see Hulk.
You see him in control of Banner, not as Banner.
You could also say that Hulk was pissed off because he was under control for so long. You could also say that as well.
Right. He's always struggling to
listen. I'm not arguing. And to your point, in Avengers, in the first one, he says, "That's my trick, Captain. I'm always angry."
I'm always angry.
But I just wanted to, just for clarification, it was a little confusing to me. That's all. So
and maybe I think that is probably is a rational reason, that because he was constantly being Professor Hulk and in that state, everything was good. But when he decided, okay, Hulk, I'm gonna go back to Banner, that could be the reason why they say, you know what, I'll do this to just stay Banner. No Hulk, period. I want to work at this school.
He was teaching classes.
Yeah.
He couldn't risk hulking out in front of a
which was funny, by the way.
Students.
To Tom's point, which was hilarious, by the way, because all his students wanted to know was about the Avengers. That's fucking hilarious.
That was great.
That was a great moment in the class. Great moment. Asked like, how come
the skinny ass Hulk smashed it.
Didn't make more food. And it's like everyone has been and that's the first time they addressed it in film.
Yeah,
it's the first time that the MCU has addressed that simple question of, you can't just make more resources, you have to kill him.
That was great. I love that when she asked that.
That was very meta.
That is very.
Can I just give like my quick little thoughts on this real fast, and I'll shut up because I'm enjoying this conversation so much. So for me, this is one of the most Spider-Man of the Spider-Man movies, probably since Spider-Man 2. Really enjoyed it. And the reason why is because this, to me, felt like the first time Spider-Man was not a guest in his own movie, at least with the Tom Holland ones. I mean, Homecoming was great, but I think you get a little overshadowed with Michael Keaton, who's an amazing actor, and then Iron Man's in that one. So as much as I love that one, the second one, Nick Fury comes involved. It feels more like an Avengers kind of side mission. The third one was just, like all the Spider-Man and, you Doctor Strange. This is the first one I felt like it's back to basics, back to Spider-Man doing Spider-Man shit. He's all over the city. And by the way, because New York, the city, and that's such a big part of Spider-Man, of who he is, the city. And even though I know they did not film it in New York, as a New Yorker, there were times when they fooled me. I'm literally looking at it looks like fucking New York. It looks like the boroughs. City. There's
the
parts where I was
character.
Yeah, the city becomes a character, and Roosevelt Island is like, all of that. I was like, wow, I was really, really blown away by a lot of that stuff that really made it feel like a Spider-Man comic. To Ryan's point earlier, I'm not as big of a Spider-Man fan, but I used to collect the comics when I was a kid. Spectacular, amazing, all the titles and stuff, and just kind of being immersed in the universe and stuff, up to the point he got the black suit, Secret Wars, and all that. This again felt like, and they had fan service, shot for shot comic book poses,
comic book
covers, where you're like, oh, I remember that pose. There was a lot of great moments in this movie. Story wise, now I will say, as far as introducing Jean Grey, they're not going, to Tom's point, this is going to be a springboard for these future movies. It just has to be. And it's well played when you think about it. They get in here, whether MCU and or whether Disney and Sony don't really like each other, and I get this much, I get this much. Disney's vibe was at least, hey, we got to get to these next stages of movies, so we're gonna have a little bit of sprinkle in here because we got to launch these other ones. And what better way to springboard? Because Spider-Man's going to make $1 billion. It's going to. So the most watched property has to have nuts and crannies of what's to come, because that only serves the bigger universe picture. I wasn't mad at that. I will say, but I get Tuala's gripes. I will say Jean Grey as a character, and she's the younger version, the flipping minds thing. Yes, she's a telepath. That's the power set's a little different. And I know it escalates later, and she'll become, because you got the whole thing where she can become Dark Phoenix and all that. The power set was a little off to me, okay? And then I get it. Geographically, it looks like she's driving up to Westchester. That's probably the next step. I'm not necessarily mad about that. As far as it being different Earths, it's going to be interesting to me how they introduce the new X-Men versus the old one, because you've already had Days of Future Past and all that, where you had the young cast and the old cast. So it gets a little more confusing for me. And I know, Xavier and Magneto are going to be the next ones. So again, I left enjoying the movie like a lot, but I did have questions. Like I said, the whole thing is a mild one. The Jean Grey, how do we mesh her with the what's the Marston character is going to be in this one? So he's from the older X-Men movies and the Fox ones.
Yeah, there's not going to be none of the people except Deadpool and maybe Wolverine, because they're talking about maybe the Wolverine that was in Deadpool and Wolverine, which isn't the Wolverine from the Foxverse, by the way, just in case people were wondering. That wasn't the same Wolverine. That was
James Marsden is going to be in these new movies, though, isn't he? Yeah.
No, he's in Doomsday.
Doomsday.
Not Cyclops going forward. James Marsden is not going to be Cyclops going forward. This is an all new 616 based X-Men.
Okay. All right.
Period. All new. Just like when they did Days of Future Past, they recast it. Even though it was in the same universe, they were just casting those quote unquote same characters as younger. That's not the case. The X-Men have never been in the 616. Now they are being introduced into the 616. And the excuse, I think, is going to be that they actually are. They have never been the X-Men. They are going to become the X-Men in the 616. They're going to do their origin story. And the reason they couldn't do that with Fantastic Four is that all of Fantastic Four thing is that they've been superheroes forever.
Right.
They've been in their universe. I mean, they've been in their thing. They've been an intimate
and
part of
they start as a group. They don't start independently and come together.
And there's no way that the Fantastic Four can be in 616 New York.
Okay.
They just can't. Because
I get it. Yeah.
So now they're coming. They did their 60s origin story, which didn't do as well as I had hoped, because I actually enjoyed that movie a lot. But now they're coming over here. They're going to be a part of the 616, and X-Men are being rebooted. That's why I think we've never seen Xavier, but Xavier exists on the 616. He just hasn't had a mutant to come out and do anything.
Right.
My question is this: if that's true, then where was the?
I don't know if there haven't been any.
Where was who?
Hold on, we can't hear Ryan's question. Go ahead.
Xavier. We keep saying okay, Jean Grey's going to Westchester. Okay, well, where has Xavier been this whole time? Where has Magneto been this whole time? Because if you have Xavier, you got to have Magneto.
Well, what is different is that Magneto is not going to be a Holocaust survivor anymore.
Yes, that's my other question.
Well, we're in 2026. Everybody is younger. This is the beginning of Charles Xavier. Storm isn't around yet.
Right.
They're going to be a different thing.
Redo the
and
origin.
whether or not Magneto has even emerged, what they may do, because again, in the comic books, Magneto was de-aged to become Joseph. And so he was as young as the other ones. I think what they may be doing is setting up that Xavier and Magneto may emerge and may come to the fore at the same time. I don't know what the trigger is going to be for Magneto, because even 9/11 is 20 fucking years in the past at this point.
Yeah,
so
right.
he would have had to have done something.
Well,
But maybe
they age differently.
Maybe in Doomsday, the incursion is the thing that triggers his powers to emerge.
Yeah.
That makes the most sense. That he's on this planet and something happens and somebody he loves dies and it emerges his powers. You work with what you have. So what you have is the snap, and the snap could have been something when Hulk unsnapped everybody. That could have been the replacement for nuclear radiation creating the X gene. Maybe
that would have happened by now, though.
That
would have happened by now, though.
But they don't have to manifest their powers. If you activate the latent X gene, now the teenagers may or may not have manifested their powers. I didn't say it gave them genes. I just said it activated the genes.
But Dr. Liz, real quick, Dr. Liz, that because we have had several instances now with mutants in this universe, and we already have Namor, who says I was the first mutant. We have Namor, who's already claimed it. We have Kamala Khan, and there have been other characters in this universe who are technically mutants in the 616. So I don't see this as an Xavier actively looking to bring together mutants. From my understanding, this is something that was leaked out on Reddit like maybe a year ago, is that an incident happens to a mutant, that there is a mutant, almost like the incident with that started off the Civil War where Speedball went and destroyed the school or whatever, and that had everyone going after superheroes. An incident, from what I read, an incident happens with an individual that has been deemed a mutant, that turns society against people that are popping up with powers, that causes all these different individuals to coalesce and come together. And then it is Xavier who comes forward to lead them when they all come together. But they don't come together under Xavier. They come together as like, folks is after us. Folks is after us.
That's fine.
And that's fine if they do that. Yeah.
This is why I think what would be more interesting is not where they were, but there is probably word that has gotten out, because as she's driving up, there's the Kamala Khan in the end of her series. You get people looking for mutants and trying to put them away. You get that kind of space happening in the last Spider-Man that took place. That's how it starts off with Murdoch. And then you have this one who's coming. This one, they overtly are talking about the fact that they're putting people who are mutants away. So it seems like there could be a refuge that is probably where they're kind of moving off, which is where we're getting to where you don't necessarily have to see Xavier or Magneto, but they're just finding a space for them to be not hunted.
You mean the school is being built?
The school being built.
It could very well be a combination of a bunch of things. So Damage Control was kind of the big bad in Kamala Khan anyway. They were the people that were chasing her. Damage Control was chasing Wonder Man. And now Damage Control was trying to isolate Jean. So it may well be that it's a combination of things. So Tuala outlined one thing which would work perfectly well from a story structure perspective, and Liz has said another thing. Another thing that I think we're ignoring the elephant in the room, Jean Grey could have activated innumerable people. She fucking controlled a square kilometer of New York. And does anybody remember where Aurora Monroe was born?
Westchester?
She was born in Harlem. They moved back to Africa. Her
I was
mother
say
was
she wasn't born in Africa.
She
No?
was not. Her mother was from Africa. The father was a photojournalist. She was born in New York City, and then they moved back to Cairo.
Okay. Yeah, and that was a retro storytelling of Aurora's history.
Yeah, because I thought at the beginning she was African, but I don't know.
She is half African because her mother is half
No, but I'm saying where she was born. That I'm sorry.
So she moved almost right away. I didn't say she grew up there. Okay. But she was technically in New York. Now, whether or not this is her happening to be home, I'm not saying that this is it. I'm just saying when the most powerful telepath outside of Xavier, and she even exceeds Xavier, but when an Omega level telepath unleashes her powers in New York City, and there are other mutants who call New York City home, it's quite possible that is also an inciting event, and it ties her and other mutants together a lot more. One more thing about mutants. When Namor was introduced in the 40s, he really was perceived as more of a hybrid. He was a mix between one race and the other. Technically, he's a mutant, but they kind of decided to call him a mutant later because of the wings. The wings are the thing that make him a mutant. His hybrid nature is what gives him his strength in water and his ability to breathe in water and all of that. It's the wings on his feet that let him fly that makes him a mutant. So he's not what I would say is technically the same sort of mutant that Stan Lee created post-atomic age to say, ooh, nuclear radiation just automatically gave us a way to make superheroes. That's what Stan Lee's mutants were. And that's what Kamala Khan is kind of more so. And Jean Grey, when they later transitioned it to the X gene, because we were 50 years removed from the atomic age and people being scared of nuclear bombs, then they just changed it to X gene, just like it's the meta gene in the DC now. So you have the same way to make whoever you want. It's just now it's not radiation. Now it's an unknown gene factor.
We've had other events. I mean, we can't forget WandaVision happened.
Right. Well, Photon got her powers from WandaVision. So, she was never a mutant as far as I know.
I know, but I'm just saying we've had
there have been other things. But those people also in what state was WandaVision set?
New Jersey.
I thought it was New York.
I thought it was New York too.
Yeah, I thought it was New York.
I thought it was Jersey.
It's New York City adjacent New Jersey.
Adjacent, yeah.
So the point is there's a lot of shit happening in that corner of the universe.
But everything in the Marvel universe, with the exception of Wonder Man, happens in New York. New York is not the place to live.
It's in New Jersey.
In the 616.
Yeah. So the point is that we have the very fact that we're having conversations on how cool it would be if is why this movie is a success. It is doing what it needed to do. And I will say that when you think about it, one of the ways, to Ryan's point about the Hulk Hogan of handing off, why was Tony Stark in so many goddamn movies? Tony Stark introduced Spider-Man to the MCU.
Yeah.
Because RDJ was the most popular figure in the MCU. Iron Man was that dude. You put him in the end of Hulk.
And he's not racist either.
Well, he's not racist either.
Yeah.
He's an alcoholic whore, but he's not racist. So
he did do Tropic Thunder.
I mean, oh my God. No, first of all, he gets an eternal pass. He was amazing in Tropic Thunder. Fuck anybody who said that was blackface. That was not blackface.
Conversation.
I'm Team Mo on that
role.
The greatest blackface ever done on film.
Fuck that role.
No. I fucking love that shit. No. So the point is that Tom Holland, without question, somebody posted this today. Tom Holland has now been, he's the only actor who has been in the top 4 grossing films of all time. He was in both Infinity War and Endgame. And now he's in this one, and he was in
Odyssey.
I know Avatar's got to be.
Well, Odyssey is almost there. Odyssey hasn't climbed there yet. This is the first time ever where the number 1 and number 2 films share 3 actors: Bernthal, Holland, and Zendaya. And by the way, if you think Tom Holland is ever going to pass up the opportunity to be on screen with his wife as MJ, y'all are steady.
Can we talk about the chemistry they have real quick?
They really do. They are amazing.
No, it's real. It's absolutely real.
It's dope.
And we've seen them grow up, and we've also seen their love story.
No,
Well,
but
can I
to
interject
your
one thing real
point,
quick?
Tom, this film isn't as successful as it is based on hype. As I said in the beginning,
Yeah.
this is hands down the best Spider-Man film that we have seen thus far.
Money-wise.
And not even money-wise, just as far as the cohesive storytelling of just Spider-Man. Tom Holland's performance as Spider-Man, his connection with the original Spider-Man character, all of the callbacks to the original Spider-Man universe. Hell, the opening crawl. Not a lot of people looked at the opening crawl and saw that they were straight eliminating him from all the memories from the Spider-Man universe of films. Great. All of that, it made this film as a Spider-Man movie flawless. His acting, his action, everything Spider-Man about this film was flawless, and it's beyond word of mouth, because word of mouth takes this film to another film, but this film was already sold out everywhere. The tickets are well deserved.
All the another nod, all the blending they did between all of the previous Spider-Mans. You know, you obviously have the organic webs from the Tobey movies. You've got the POVs from the Garfield movies when he's swinging. It's like all of that's just chef's kiss, man. There's a lot of things they nailed it. There were so many things where I'm like, wow. Like
this is one of the few franchises where they were able to effectively age up all of the principal actors. They were in quote unquote high school. Not only did they actually physically get older, but they allowed them to get older in a story sense. They glammed up Zendaya. That was great. They allowed Peter Parker to transition from being a high school child to a grown-ass man with grown-ass man problems.
Yeah, grad student.
The totality of the story.
Fake grad student.
I'm sorry.
Fake grad student, yes.
Yeah, fake
I said grad student, but it's fake grad student. Yes.
But they aged up and they grew up all of the principal actors and the story, and I think that was it was basically a rom-com superhero story, but it was not heavy on the humor. I love the tonality about it. It's like, okay, they kept the humor was natural as far as like an uncomfortable humor. It's like, no, I'm not gonna fucking fight Hulk. You know, it wasn't like trying to be funny to the point of being gratuitous. Like that's something that we would all say. It's like, no, you got this, Spidey.
Like, are you trying
crazy?
to get out of
He ain't
Hulk?
that crazy.
Right. Like, are you just trying to get out of fighting the Hulk? He's like, yeah, basically. And by the way, sorry, the way because I was really skeptical if Punisher was going to fit in this movie, and he fit in very well because obviously he's an R-rated character, but they used just enough where like they dropped enough shit and goddams that you didn't mind him not dropping an F-bomb. It was like perfectly done. I'm like, wow.
And they handled that by shooting the web over his mouth before he got the fuck out.
But by the way, they're allowed.
They just kept it to shit. You can say it once.
Right, you can say it once, and they didn't even do it
a lot. Right. And
but they're allowed one fuck, but they didn't even take that liberty.
And it's like with Sam Jackson. They did the same thing with Sam Jackson before he got dusted. This was a movie that did what it needed to do. And the only question that remains, the most important critical question that is unanswered in this movie, where the fuck is the guy that kissed MJ at the party? Because I want him thrown out.
The boyfriend. Yeah.
He needs to go.
He said
It was only like a
he
2-day
would ask a
story.
lot of questions.
It all happened over like 2 days.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. That's a relationship grand opening, grand closing.
Well, wait
You're
a
not going to see
second.
that again.
You know,
Another part in the movie that I got.
You don't hear from her. He don't even come back to the apartment.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
She comes back. Like, I mean, you haven't heard from her in 2 days, and
that actor in real life probably earned his SAG card on this movie just from doing that one scene.
I know that's right.
Money.
No. That actor is what's his name? That actor is
they probably
is from the Ahsoka.
You get one kiss.
Oh, he's okay. My bad. Okay, all right.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
well, Blink
he plays homeboy from Rebels in Ahsoka.
Yeah, you get one kiss.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Wait, he plays Bridger? No, he's not Bridger.
Yeah, Ezra Bridger.
The other guys?
Yeah,
that's Ezra. That's
Wait,
Ezra
the boyfriend was Ezra Bridger?
Yeah, I was trying to place him too. You're right.
Yeah, really?
That is him.
Ezra Bridger.
Yeah,
I thought he looked like South Asian.
Yeah,
that's Ezra Bridger.
Yeah,
who we will see in Ahsoka coming up.
Well, I guess that's another Disney cast off. You know who else who did a good job in a relatively new role is the guy who played the black guy who confronts Spidey.
Yes, that was great.
And he's not brand new, but he was, I think, the largest non-major character scene that shared a scene with Superman.
He had a good 2 minutes with Spider-Man.
Yeah, it was a lot.
With dialogue. It was great.
Great dialogue.
That was great dialogue. I mean, this movie was very well written. It was one of those superhero movies. You don't say that often about a superhero movie, but this damn thing was well written. I'm like,
it was
man,
very well written.
It had some moments where I was like, Jesus, this is good stuff.
No, I mean, everything in this movie, as far as the plot and as far as the story, my issues with character involvement aside, the script for this film was flawless. The dialogue, the story, every single thing in it made sense, and everyone there was a point for everyone to be in it. That's not being argued. My issue is with specific use of characters, but that's neither here nor there. That doesn't detract from a film, which I think is probably, because there's nothing else dropping this summer, probably going to get closer to the 2 billion mark, because it's gonna get close.
It's definitely making $1 billion.
It's
definitely making $1 billion.
I don't think anything significant is coming until
there literally isn't anything else.
No.
The only thing this was missing was Jafar Jackson.
Doomsday's December, right? Isn't Doomsday December?
Yeah, Doomsday is December.
Yeah.
There's nothing left in the summer. There's nothing big. The end of Oak Street is coming out. The Ice Cream Man is coming out. There are no big films. It's going to be Spider-Man and Odyssey next week, and probably the next week too.
But back to my point again, this is a great springboard for Marvel going into Doomsday, because this is the best promotion.
This is what they needed. They're back.
Yeah, they needed this.
The amount of goodwill that this film generated for Marvel, and even that end credit scene, which those of us who know what happens in Secret Wars, we know what that off-planet blip means. We know where Spider-Man is going, and Sony does it. That's not something Sony needs to spell out. A lot of people were like, huh? And I'm like, you guys don't know what Secret Wars is. Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
The after credit scene was trash. I will say
that was a throwaway.
I waited until the very, very end for that. Piss.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm with you, Dr. Liz. I was like, man.
But it's trash for a different reason.
Yeah.
Ned's app worked on people reporting the location of Spider-Man. How are people reporting the location of Spider-Man who don't have the app in the middle of space?
Right. It was just GPS locator.
It was just dumb. Right. Yeah. It wasn't. He didn't have a tracker on Spider-Man. It was all. People just saw Spider-Man here.
Maybe they saw him flying away. I don't know.
or if Elena has the app and she's like, oh, I found him. We're on Battle World.
Listen,
look, I to me it's one of those like, okay, it was a stretch, but it's still to let us know where he's at.
It don't work that far away, man. What the fuck?
No, I waited for this.
It was just to let us know he's going to be in one of these two movies. That's the only reason it's there. Yeah. And that's fine. I get it. You want him to be there. Somebody said, is Yelena an upgrade from Natasha as Black Widow? And I say yes, just for the accent alone.
Well, she's funny.
She's Russian, for God's sake. And Natasha never even tried a Russian accent.
Yes.
She did.
And all of the small potato, big potato, Russian, like we totally got. It was very well written.
Too. And then she let that go after Iron Man 2.
But it wasn't even.
She dropped that. You know why? Because she couldn't do it well. That's why they dropped the shit. She wasn't good at Russian accent.
Oh, rap.
Scarlett Johansson couldn't do it.
Fucking the sheriff from Stranger Things did it. Yelena did. She was the only person in the whole family who couldn't do that shit.
That's also why they dropped the accent for Wanda after Avengers, because she couldn't do it convincingly. So they just dropped the accent. It was trash. After Ultron, it was like no more. Remember? Same thing.
That is true. But also, when you saw Wanda in the comics, I never read her as having an accent. And when she was introduced as a mutant, an evil mutant, Wundagore hadn't happened yet. she wasn't even Magneto's daughter.
Yeah, but
at that
she's
point.
from Romania, wherever the fuck she's from. So that's
she's from Sokovia.
Sokovia. Sorry, yeah.
And then she turned into a sitcom queen who watched American television. They established in that movie that she learned English from watching American sitcoms. Okay. So it's a dodge,
but the real behind the scenes is she couldn't do the fucking accent.
Okay, here's the thing. Before all that, they explained it in Civil War. Natasha was teaching her how to be a spy, and part of being a spy is changing your accent and changing how you talk. In the very beginning of the movie, they're doing that.
But I'm saying in Black Widow, all of the widows received the same training, but Yelena still sounds Russian.
Yeah.
Rachel Weisz, who created it, sounds
about
Russian.
Wanda. I'm gonna fuck about Natasha.
I understand. I understand. But they also explained that Wanda learned English from watching old sitcoms, which is what the setup was for WandaVision.
Yeah, that was after.
So, So
look,
this is nothing.
Yelena is a jewel.
How good the movie is.
No, Yelena is.
She's a jewel. And they are definitely her inclusion in this. They're definitely trying to position her as having a real future in the MCU. Just as a character, they're definitely propping her up. Real quick though, because we are at an hour 21. I just want to get a few minutes in on a conversation that has literally been set on fire within not just the nerd sphere, but just in general conversation with the announcement of the cancellation of Wonder Man season 2. Several individuals have put together that the MCU, Marvel specifically, has made significant moves to eliminate or not move forward with products and projects that are starring African American leads. You know, Armor Wars is on the back burner somewhere. Ironheart is in limbo. Blade, which is the most significant, with Mahershala Ali coming out saying, "Hey, yo, man, don't ask me about this shit no more." They had $1 billion. They could, if they wanted to make the movie, they could, which is all very, very true.
Very true.
And I think the mishandling of these stories in this short amount of time, is what makes it look so weird. But if we're looking at it big picture, these are not the first series to be canceled. Marvel has introduced and announced several series that have never gotten off the ground. That is absolutely true. If we look at the fact that Marvel as a film company, they have only released one film this year, and that's going to be Doomsday. Spider-Man Brand New Day is a Sony release. Film, and of course the MCU is benefiting greatly from it. Yes, but it is not a MCU film. Doomsday stars a cast that is heavily built up of people of color and women. You know, and some of the leads, you know, Sam Wilson, he is the leader of the Avengers. You have King M'Baku, you have Shuri, you have Falcon, who is Danny Ramirez, who's taking over that character. You have a lot of people of color and a lot of women who are front facing in Doomsday. They're only released this film. So I saw someone post online, you know, Marvel this, that, and the other. I'm like, stop it with Marvel is racist, because Doomsday proves that they're not. Next year, the MCU is releasing one film, Secret Wars, one film. And then in 2028, they're doing two, Ghost Rider and Black Panther 3. Yep. So the idea that Marvel is targeting films and projects leading Black folks, I think that they're targeting folks, period, because behind the scenes, what did Disney just do as a company? After the success of so many films, I'm talking Toy Story 5 and everything else, they just finished firing hundreds upon thousands of people in their most recent round of layoffs. For all the money they be making, there are still several cuts behind the scenes. As a company and even as a theme park, they are still not hitting the points they need to make.
Well,
that's why they're making
those
cuts.
They had no water.
Yeah,
they want.
They want, yes, what they want. All I'm saying is, if we look at
it, had no water.
If we look at it objectively, is Marvel targeting
off the AI towers?
Is Marvel targeting projects starring Black characters, or are they cutting back? And that's a question, because if they're only releasing 1 to 2 films a year, and only 3 series. This year, we are only getting 1 live action series, Vision Quest. They dropped I'm not Spider-Man, but X-Men 97. They count that as one of their series. They're giving us Vision Quest. Next year, they're only giving us Spider-Man, the animated series, the new one that they do, and another edition of X-Men 97. They haven't announced what their live action series is going to be, if they do anything. So they're cutting back on stuff, period.
Well, we have not seen Doomsday yet, so we don't know how they're going to treat black characters in that movie. Until I see that movie,
no, we don't.
No. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Okay, dude, like canceling all those movies and putting movies on the back burner. I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical. I'm looking at them sideways. I mean, I'm not calling them racist, but I'm like, something doesn't look right here.
I think
I had no idea where they were going to go.
Well, and this is the thing. Armor Wars without Tony Stark is a totally different story.
Yep.
And quite frankly, War Machine wasn't the shit in Iron Man 3. So to say that you're going to predicate a series on Rhodey and maybe bring in Riri just because she has armor, then what? You're bringing Sam Rockwell in as Hammer? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
It doesn't make sense. Yeah. Wonder Man was critically acclaimed, but it wasn't really a superhero show. He only used his powers like 6 times, and most of that was in the last 5 minutes of the last episode.
True.
So
you're missing something.
Go ahead.
You're missing something key here. And what everything that Tuala said is factually accurate. But I would also introduce how these shows are laid out, how these shows I feel are under promoted, how these shows have been partitions like the Black Show, like Ironheart and so forth. And so they're perceived as not necessary. They're not promoted in a way which has the greatest chance of success, and it makes it easier for them to cut these shows. That's my issue. And like Ryan said, I'm not saying that Marvel is racist, but I believe that there is an underappreciation and a devaluing of the black shows or black-led shows, and also how they've never come out and really defended. They didn't defend the Sam Wilson Captain America. They didn't defend the Ironheart. Yeah, they had the Robert Downey Jr. promotion of it, but they didn't really stand behind it. And I look at this as, part of this is personal because I feel like they did the same thing with me at KFI, truth be told, where you send the message to the audience like they're separate. They're not as important. Yeah, we've heard your criticisms of Sam Wilson as Captain America, and so we're going to start pulling back. And I said it in the chat, and I say it here. I don't think that you can divorce this from the larger discussion of what's going on between Disney/ABC and the Trump administration.
No, and that I believe that does have something to do with, or it could. All I'm saying is, can you name me a show that they have actually done a lot of marketing or promotion for that was a Disney Plus series? They did do a lot of marketing and promotion.
Shit out of that.
Which one?
WandaVision in the aftermath of Endgame.
That WandaVision was the first and the only. They did not promote Hawkeye at all. Nope. They did not promote even What If. Like they don't promote their TV shows. They just don't. There isn't a TV show that's had a lot of promotion.
You know what else isn't coming back? Echo. You know what else isn't coming back? Secret Invasion. There's a lot of shit. Oh,
Moon Knight,
Echo.
Apparently.
Sorry. That was my Alexa. Moon Knight, but that may be an Oscar Isaacs thing. There's a lot of things that they tried. And here's the other balance sheet issue. Disney Plus television doesn't have as easy a way to quantify the dollars spent.
Yeah,
a movie that makes $1 billion in one weekend, everybody sees that. What is it like? We got 20 more subscriptions this week, and then other people canceled it. You can't say, "Oh, I'm going to spend $125 million on a series," and there's no hard, concrete dollars going into it.
Well, not only that, you also have to keep in mind if everyone who's out there complaining about the cancellation of these shows, with the exception of Wonder Man, which was overwhelmingly loved, if you keep it 100, the series that they have released have not been met with high acclaim. Not even WandaVision. Echo was not. Loki season 3 was. Loki,
Oh, they
or not season
promoted
3,
Loki
but
a
Loki
lot.
was, but even Loki was one of those like, yeah, you
3
really got to
seasons?
watch it. It wasn't even promoted the second season
That's not
of Loki.
that's not true.
Okay,
Two
I
seasons.
have the
also, but
promotion.
wait
They
a minute.
promoted the
Also,
hell out of it.
Loki was important to the Kang storyline, which was something they were building
That's true too.
Yeah,
until
No.
Jonathan Majors fell to pieces.
They gave
So
Loki a whole
Loki
series.
was more tied into the film universe
That's true.
than most of these other series. Echo was never coming to TV. I mean, never coming to film.
yeah.
So Daredevil has 5 seasons and a 6th season in the can. Daredevil lives on TV, and there's nothing wrong with living on TV.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. You know, ask Mariska Hargitay. She's been doing that character for 27 fucking years. So the point is that sometimes it works. I mean, oh well, yeah, that's true too.
To be fair, though, to be fair, as the Ironheart lover, I love Ironheart. I didn't see where that was going to go a second season.
Oh no. And the Ironheart as a show, Ironheart wasn't a winner. It's not a show that you were like, I need a second season of that. No one was asking for a second season of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I was.
Well, but he became Captain America.
I'm talking about in general. I'm talking about audience reception to the MCU series has not been overwhelming at all, enough to justify the need for a second season for anything.
They've also canceled a lot of season. They were supposed to do a whole series on, because I know that Tom was looking forward to it, on a spinoff of Black Panther.
The Okoye series.
Well, no, they did the animated Eyes of Wakanda, or whatever.
But they were supposed to do the Okoye series, and they dropped that. Yep. There's a lot of stuff that never came to fruition. There's just a lot of stuff that Marvel just said, nah. Strange Academy has been in development hell forever. It's not really happening.
It feels
Young Avengers.
Honest, right? Well, and you've still got some characters because you've got Kate Bishop in play, you've got Stature in play, you've got the Wanda twins in play. You haven't seen the Patriot character, and of course Iron.
No, we've seen him. We just didn't see him do anything. We saw Patriot.
No, but I'm saying they're still available to be developed into something.
Well, and so is Armor Wars. I mean, Armor Wars, they're still talking about Armor Wars are going to happen in some way, somehow. But we'll see. I just don't see this as clear cut as an attack on these products. For me, the only disrespectful thing, the only thing on the website. No, and it is, but to me, that's the only disrespectful thing that I see.
Away. Yeah, he's done.
Yeah, he told Marvel to get fucked.
Yeah, he's real tired. you know what I will say to Walla? If Doomsday and Secret Wars are successes, bank on Tony Stark coming back as AI for Armor Wars.
Oh, absolutely. I
can't even take that bet. That's spot on.
I mean, absolutely. 100%.
That's how you do it. Because either Doom will continue to be Doom, but the way movies work versus the way comic books work, Doom probably is either off to another dimension or disintegrated or lokified or some bullshit. Yeah, he's taken off the table because you're introducing him as a god. In the comic books, he was introduced as like not a street level threat, but kind of a world level threat just because he's Lex Luthor.
He's not intergalactic. He's
Luke
not
Cage beat his ass.
Hammer.
Yeah, he was never that high powered in the comics.
Over $75.
Hey man, money's money. That's gas money, Playboy.
Right. So all I'm saying is that the next obvious big play, and maybe it's only for one, maybe it's only for the Armor Wars TV show, but Robert Downey Jr. doesn't need to turn down a check. And if they're going to pay him big bucks to be just like they de-aged him in that one movie.
Civil War.
Civil War.
I mean, and look at it, Tom. Yeah. What they introduced and the way that they do that is the exact same way that they introduced it in Ironheart. How she introduced a virtual digital human being in Ironheart.
And
they
did that
with Tony Stark.
Correct. Even though Mephisto brought that devil girl best friend to life at the end, but you've demonstrated that if she could do it, Stark could certainly do it. Stark technology could certainly do it.
Yes,
and that's a respectful way to get him back on screen to help tie the threads together. And it could even be, if I can find these missing pieces of Stark tech, I can bring Tony's back as AI. That could be the governing thread of the movie, to give him something to chase, as opposed to him having Tony at the beginning. He could gradually get pieces of Tony.
And then you need Ironheart.
Yeah.
And Ironheart could be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have Ironheart and you have War Machine. So obviously you use what you have. Again, it's story economy. And Riri ain't doing shit. So it's a good way to continue.
Look, we'll see what happens with Vision Quest, because Vision Quest has Ultron returning, or the Ultron character returning, living rent free in Vision's head as he is bringing himself back. So Vision is coming back.
Okay. I think James Spader's coming back to voice it as well.
No, he is. Yeah, he's coming back. But they said that we're not going to really see Ultron, the physical form. We're going to see him as a embodiment of a character living within Vision's head as he is building himself back up, and ultimately Ultron is trying to come back to life, and blah blah blah. You know how TV does. It's one of those things. So yeah, yep.
Listen, I won't accuse Disney of all out racism, but all I'm saying is you've had 3 Ant-Man movies and I can't get a Blade movie.
Thank you.
Look, that's
3 fucking shitty Ant-Man movies and I can't get a Blade movie.
That's hella disrespectful.
Why is that disrespectful?
Oh, no. It's hella to me, and this is the point I was about to make a second ago, is that of all the things that Marvel is being disrespectful over, is the fact that they've announced that they're going to do a Ghost Rider film ahead of Blade.
Right.
And I think that, because if you think about it, that's when we start hearing Mahershala going the fuck off.
That is and the crazy part is Blade made superhero movies popular again.
Right. Wesley Snipes' 98 Blade is the reason why, and arguably you go into the X-Men 2000, but that's it.
No, not arguably.
For Marvel.
No, not arguably. No,
Blade, I'm sorry, not
Blade
arguably.
made the shit hot. And I think, and we've said this before, I think you can't discount the fact that fans went apeshit when Wesley Snipes was back on screen in Deadpool versus Wolverine.
Yes.
And what he said, one of his lines was, "And there won't ever be another one."
I was gonna say, even though it was tongue in cheek, then he kind of screwed up.
Mahershala's kind of skinny. Can Mahershala kick people in the face? Can Mahershala do kung fu and shit?
There'll only be one Blade. I was like,
dead ass in the camera.
Yeah.
And so it was. I get it. I would love to see Blade back. I don't know that I would love to see Mahershala more than I'd love to see Wesley Snipes' Blade again. That's all I will say. And if they threw Wesley Snipes in Midnight Suns because Mahershala is pissed, nobody would be upset at that. Nobody would be upset if Wesley Snipes came back as Blade. 0 people would be
really old.
Look, Wesley Snipes was phenomenal in Deadpool.
He was fine in Deadpool.
Yeah, he was great in Deadpool.
He's not doing anything. He could do this.
Yeah. That was a cameo in Deadpool, but I mean,
no, he had battle sequences.
Okay,
he did, but then you got to realize how many of the scenes are really stunt doubles and how many are him too. You know, I'm not saying he can't get
have
old.
like a
Ain't nobody saying that shit.
Blade, you know, I mean, look, I like Wesley, but we need a new Blade.
Yeah, I was gonna say we need some fresh blood in there.
I see what you did there.
Franchise. If you're trying to restart the franchise, then you need someone in their late 20s, early 30s, so they can do 3-4 movies.
Yeah,
but Mahershala isn't in his 20s either.
That's
he's younger than Wesley. Shit.
No, he is. Yeah. No, a lot of people are younger than Wesley.
Yeah.
He did a credible job in Deadpool versus Wolverine.
Yes.
No, Michael J. White has not yet been in the MCU. Michael J. White was in the Nolan verse in the Joker.
Dark Knight, the Dark Knight. That doesn't really count.
That's not even the DCU. That was the Nolan verse. But
he was fun, but Michael J. White is 50, 58. He doesn't look it.
He can't do it either.
Yeah, Michael J. White's too old too. I love Michael J. White, but
he can still kick ass though.
Oh no, he absolutely can.
Now, if we were doing a Blade multiverse movie with Mahershala and Wesley and Michael J. White, come on now.
Yeah,
no. Now we got some magic.
He's the brother.
That's too black to Marvel though. That ain't gonna happen.
He's
right.
Well,
that's true.
No,
hold on. Black Panther's still one of the most successful all black movies, bro.
Coogler said, "Let me make Blade."
That part.
After if he said, I won't make Black Panther 3 unless I can make Blade after,
that would be the move.
Blade would be done.
God. That would be the move. Oh my god.
Look, everyone would trust Ryan Coogler to
Absolutely.
do
after Sinners.
Oh,
are you fucking kidding me?
No, everyone would trust him to do it. No, like if Ryan Coogler put his name on anything, it's gonna get green lit. Like that's not gonna be a problem.
But not for nothing. This is also an opportunity for other black directors to shine. Ryan Coogler doesn't have to do all the black movies.
Yeah. No, he doesn't.
This is,
but
I get your point.
Nia DaCosta did the Marvels, which didn't do well at all.
But Nia DaCosta's work on whatchamacallit was great.
Candyman. She was amazing.
Yeah.
But here's the thing:
Nia DaCosta, Hunger, who did Lovecraft. Hunger, who did Lovecraft, could absolutely do Blade.
But
I mean, there's a bunch of people. It's just to Mahershala's point. Yeah, but to Mahershala's point, they've got $1 billion, and if they wanted to do the film, they could have. They just didn't want to. Kevin Feige trying to fall on the sword, saying, "Hey, I effed up. I feel like such a loser." Yeah, dog, because you are. You're a loser for that.
Sure. Listen, let's be aware that while he was in development hell, Marvel was releasing its biggest string of flops, except for No Way Home, ever in the history of the franchise.
And again, that's not all Marvel.
Everything was underperforming, and so
Marvel's saving grace has been Spider-Man, and that's not all Marvel.
And so when you look at this,
I'm sorry,
as Marvel,
and you're saying Wakanda forever.
That was 853 million. That's fine. But that was also Black Panther, and it performed like 500 million less than the predecessor because Chadwick Boseman was not.
Well, you're not going to have Chadwick.
That was one of those movies where the hype of wanting to know that drove the opening week, and then it fell off. 500 million is more than Brave New World made. It's more than the Marvels made. That drop off is not insignificant. It's more than Thunderbolts. And so you had all of these movies that were failing. And then you're like, well, let's make a black vampire movie that's completely disconnected from everything else in the MCU. And so I think it went into turnaround. It went into development hell. You didn't know how you were going to do it. You're trying to tie things together. You're trying to build back. You're trying to get to Doomsday and post-Doomsday. And Blade doesn't easily fit in there. Blade wasn't a part of it.
But they waited way too long. It got announced before Fantastic Four.
That's what I'm saying. Eternals did not do well. And so for you to kind of lead into this and then have another movie that could or could not possibly do well, why?
But that's my point. That's exactly what I'm saying.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah. I mean, it's just super risky. Everything you thought you were banking on, Oscar-winning director for Eternals, Angelina Jolie in Eternals. And that movie failed.
The less said about the Eternals, the better, bro.
It had Kit Harington straight off of the Game of Thrones.
Straight off of Game of Thrones.
So the less said about the Eternals, the better.
When you lose on the Eternals, you lose Black Widow. That's not fair. That was COVID.
But
wait, what? Which one was COVID?
Thunderbolts underperformed. Fantastic.
Oh, Black Widow,
performed.
Yeah.
All of these movies, Quantumania got made because it was Kang's big debut. And it did not succeed. And so you're looking at this, you've spent $1 billion making these fucking movies, and none of them recouped. And now you're like, I'm going to put everything on the shoulders of a guy who doesn't have any connection with any other aspect of the MCU.
That's also not a part of the fabric of the MCU.
Yeah, Ghost Rider. Yeah,
that is true of Ghost Rider
before that happened.
Except that Ghost Rider is starring the star of Hail Mary and fucking Barbie.
Yeah,
he's $1 billion motherfucker.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You can't
but by that reckoning, casting for Eternals was amazing too.
Thank you. You read my mind.
I'm not saying, but
nobody was hot at that moment.
The only person in that movie who had a track record in action, and if you can't Kit Harington wasn't one of the Eternals.
Kit Harington, right? Yeah.
Was Angelina Jolie as Lara Croft 20 years ago?
Yeah, that's fair.
So I mean, up to that point,
the song, and a bunch of unknowns.
When they got announced, when Blade got
You
announced,
got the chick from Crazy Rich Asians?
Fantastic Four, 7 years ago, when Blade was announced.
She looked good in it.
Mahershala Ali was hot, and they fucking waited. I don't know what the fuck they were doing.
I'm not disputing.
Mahershala Ali was hot in Oscar-winning movies that had nothing to do with the superhero universe.
Doesn't matter. He was still hot.
It does.
You can say the same thing with Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
No, Project Hail Mary is an action movie and takes place in space, and Barbie is a fantasy.
It has nothing to do with comic books, though.
Simu Liu was in Barbie. They danced together. That's how they're going to be doomed.
Dude, if you're going to sit here and tell me that people weren't interested in seeing Mahershala Ali at that point in time and he was hot, you're crazy.
I disagree with you, Ryan.
Listen, we just got to deal with the fact that we got the Great White Hope about to be in Ghost Rider. We can't get a break.
Don't waver thing.
That's what it is.
Yeah, no, black Oscars do not mean the same thing.
They sure don't.
Oscars don't.
Apparently.
You know what? Let's cast Monique in the next Spider-Man movie.
Should I
I will say this, though. Ryan Coogler, did you guys hear that the X-Files script is supposed to be a genius by what is taking place?
Yeah.
And so my point is, I'm all for Ryan. I think
Danielle Detweiler is a gift to the universe. I can't wait for X-Files. He absolutely has not Jordan Peeled us. Jordan Peele.
No, he
Jordan
hasn't.
Peele created Jordan Peele. And
And
Ryan
the
Coogler
simple
just keeps
fact
getting
that
better.
the simple fact that Marvel, for after Secret Wars, which is supposed to be the end of everything and everything's going to be streamlined moving forward, and they're going in one succinct direction, for Kevin Feige to say, hey, we need Black Panther to be our anchor film moving forward, because Ghost Rider is not an anchor film. It's not. Black Panther 3 is. And even though it's starring an unknown, we all know Ryan Coogler's track record. We do not know that Ghost Rider, just as a character, is going to have the same. We know it's got a superstar in it, but for me, the big notification at Comic-Con was, hey, everybody, I want you to know that the Marvel saga's coming. I mean, the Mutant saga's coming. Great. I can't tell you anything about that. What I can tell you all is that we got Ryan Gosling as Ghost Rider, but guess what? Fuck that. Major news dropping. He even said this on stage. Major bomb dropping, y'all. Black Panther 3. And he brought out the stars, and everyone lost their mind. That is to say, as a company, you're putting your future moving past this next phase. Secret Wars, Doomsday, that's done. That's basically already can. We already know what's happening with those. The next things that are coming out for the public consumption is Black Panther 3 and Ghost Rider. You're putting a lot on Black Panther for a company, for folks who are saying, man, they're being disrespectful to black folks. That's all I'm saying. I'm like, yeah, but are they though?
That's like 100%. That's 100% black movie.
100%.
Yeah, just like the first one was. Just like the first one was, pretty much.
So that's why I kind of shrugged my shoulders for all the where's the black? I'm like, I don't know, y'all. I think we're being a little sensitive because maybe we've invested in Wonder Man and we wanted to see that as a future, but I don't take this as a slight. I just don't. I don't take it as,
I do, because they didn't put the Marvel heft behind the black series that could have benefited most from it and needed it the most.
I'd say emotion is half the battle. I'll agree with
needed
that.
It, yes. Emotion needed the heft, absolutely. Yes. But they still gave Sam or Captain America his own movie. They still and they did not provide any less promotion for Captain America than they did for any of the other films, minus Wakanda Forever. None of the other films really got a lot of, and we were talking about that, Mo. Where's the promotion for Fantastic Four? It was damn near non-existent. We didn't see it. For Captain America, they did put as much promotion behind it as they did for anything. Not a lot of people walked out of the theaters feeling the film. I'm just saying, not a lot of people felt it.
Would you rather see another season of Wonder Man and Trevor on the run, or would you rather see a fully powered Wonder Man in a movie? I'd rather see Wonder Man kicking ass. I want to see those.
We're not getting either.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting.
We're not going to see him in Doomsday, clearly, but My guess is
Secret Wars.
Let's see, maybe. I mean, the point is, you are missing a ton of people from the original Secret Wars and the second Secret Wars. A lot of the characters, like Molecule Man, who is super important, Beyonder, who was super important. Venom was introduced in the original Secret Wars run, not as Venom, but as the black suit.
Right.
Eventually became the symbiote. So Tony Stark was important in Secret Wars. Hulk was super important in Secret Wars. There's lots of characters who are not on the board. So who knows what's going to fill in those cracks? And Yahya Abdul Mateen II is on a fucking tear right now. And so in many ways, he's more popular than Mahershala Ali. Certainly right now he is. He's hot as fish grease right now. Yeah. And we'll see if he gets that Emmy. And his, because that would be his second Emmy, by the way, in a superhero series, because they also got one for Dr. Manhattan. Yep. This is a guy who is on the rise, and there's no telling where things are going to go. But when you have as powerful a character as Wonder Man available to you, it might not happen until Secret Wars. But especially now that Wonder Man has been canceled, it makes sense to put him on the field.
It makes sense, but I'm still highly doubtful. I'm like, I've seen this before. I've seen a black actor who's hot and they don't do shit with him, Mahershala Ali. So until I see something from Marvel, I'm still looking at him sideways. I'm Team Mo on this one.
Well, I mean, he was Cottonmouth.
Do not call him Cottonmouth.
Look, I think everyone acknowledges they are willing to use black actors. They're willing to feature black leads, but probably the room or margin for error is less. Yes. Mm-hmm. And I do believe the environment in which we live right now is contributing to at least how Marvel is making the calculation as far as what projects they're going to promote and pursue in at least this next Marvel phase. I'm still going to see everything that Marvel does, at least for the near future, but I'm not blind and ignorant to the decisions that they're making in the present, which are questionable to me and indicative of a lack of faith in us.
Right.
That's fair.
All right.
That's fair. That's fair. Good shit. Good shit.
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you think the with the success of Spider-Man, it's going to be, we know, over $1 billion, maybe even $2 billion. How much stress and pressure is now on James Gunn to blow things out of the water for Man of Tomorrow next year?
No, there's no pressure because he's packing boxes.
Yeah.
Okay.
James Gunn is waiting for that email that says, sorry, Jimmy.
The drama to outperform Supergirl.
He has had consecutive box office failures.
Yeah.
Superman was not a success, and Supergirl was far less. Clayface.
To be fair, he didn't direct
Clayface
Supergirl,
is a movie.
No,
I'm saying, but these are
it's his universe, though.
But
it's his universe,
exactly.
And then,
I don't think Clayface is going to get him $1 billion.
No, not only is Clayface even in his universe, or is it in the Pattinson Batman universe?
No, it's not. It's not in any. It's in its own universe. Clayface.
Oh, is it? I thought it was in DCU.
It's not a part of the larger Gun universe.
But Clayface is a movie that he inherited. Clayface is a movie he inherited, just like Green Lantern series that was already in production and already being done before he came on board.
I have more faith in the Green Lantern series than I do in Clayface.
Anything else?
But
listen, he was great with Peacemaker. The bottom line is, in 1 week, Brand New Day outgrossed the full theatrical runs of Superman and Supergirl.
That's what I'm saying. Right.
Week. Right. There's no coming back from that.
Well, that's back to my point.
One thing that
Mahershala Ali is the new head of DC.
Yeah. No, I mean the issue at hand is that James Gunn is a nerd and he is creative and he has a vision for individual projects that he works on. He is not a visionary. And that's what you have to be to run a studio. You have to be a visionary, and you have to have a long-term plan for everything. And he does not. when your first film is Superman and your second film is Supergirl, and your first series that he is working on, the one he's working on, is a Gorilla Grodd Jimmy Olsen series. It's like, bro, your mind isn't going in the right direction. You're not thinking about things clearly. Everything you're doing is Superman, and that's a problem.
I just don't get why it's so basic. You introduce Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Those are your trifecta, and you build from there. Why is it so freaking hard for these people? Anyway, yeah, I just don't.
Too smart for the rest of the room,
right?
You know,
it ain't brain surgery
folks.
With DC.
What do they say in radio? Play the hits.
Yes,
play the hits.
Exactly. Yeah. Your 3 marquee players. You introduce those guys, and you from there it trickles down. But
yeah.
We do have somebody asking if we can get a Batman Beyond, but not with James Gunn as the head of
Not with James Gunn. Not with James Gunn.
The challenge is that they don't even know how to deal with Batman over there.
Yeah. Well, that's why they're still having the Batman 2. Yeah.
Right. Patterson keeps saying, I don't know when we gonna come up.
Yeah, because that's got pushed back. But you know why that got pushed back to 2028? Because James Gunn will be gone by 2027.
Right.
I can't.
He'll be gone by 20 next week.
Yeah, push that film back so we're far away from the blowback we're going to get for even hiring James Gunn. Push that film back so it has its own success. But like right now, Batman is and I'll give Matt Reeves credit for this. The Batman, the Return of the Animated Series on Prime is phenomenal.
I gotta watch
the Batman Cape Crusader series. It is phenomenal work. Friend of the program, Jeff. Oh my God, Jeff. I keep on wanting to say Jeff Johnson, but fuck. I just finished watching like damn near the whole series. The Batman series is phenomenal. Believe it or not, J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves are the ones that are bringing it together. It is a great series, and so they do. But again, this is Warner Brothers Animation. Warner Brothers Animation.
Jeff Johns?
Yes. He's one of the major writers on it.
Hot take. You know who should be the next head of DC? Bruce Timm.
No. This Batman animated series, it's a Bruce Timm series.
Batman animated, it's a Superman animated
this is what I'm
series.
Saying. Also, JLU.
Justice League Unlimited. Yeah. Bruce Timm, absolutely.
If DC made live action versions of their animated shows, they would be killing right now.
We've said that for a good 15 years, Tom.
But if Bruce Timm has been consistently overlooked for no good goddamn reason, it makes sense to go with the guy who knows every single fucking character that has ever been on screen in DC, because he touched DC Unlimited, which was almost every character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, look.
Plus the Batman animated series, which was, a phenomenal success. Bruce Timm is the guy who could bring the DC back, and fans would be completely behind him. He wouldn't divide anybody. Snyder's done. Gunn is done. Bring in Timm, and Timm is your savior. He's DC Jesus.
I mean, because right now, the Batman series is Matt Reeves, J.J. Abrams, and Bruce Timm, who are the creators behind it, and it's some of the best. It's some of the best Batman storytelling since the original Batman the Animated Series. It is phenomenal storytelling and kind of set in that same world. And I'm just like, why the fuck can't DC do this? Why are you doing the decisions and the things you're doing with Batman when you've got fantastic Batman storytellers?
You've got damn near 20 Batman animated films, which on their own, each standalone would be better to do than some of the bullshit they've been doing. The Batman stuff with Damian, the Batman stuff with the Court of Owls. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why haven't we seen the Court of Owls? We should have the Court of Owls in some sort of live action thing by now.
Jeffrey Thorne. I'm sorry, not Jeff John. Jeffrey Thorne.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jeffrey Thorne. We had him on the program years back, and he's such a phenomenal brother. So DC, stop fucking around, hire Bruce Timm. That would be a phenomenal
that would be the
phenomenal move for someone who knows his treatment of Justice League Unlimited. Shows he knows characters.
He knows every character.
Some of the best animated series, man.
Yeah. I mean, Jon Stewart,
Yeah.
I mean,
like we all love Jon Stewart and Jon Stewart became our Green Lantern because of his treatment of Jon Stewart in the series.
Yeah.
Listen, Bruce Timm had Buana Beast on a couple of episodes of Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah.
This is a dude who knows the DC universe frontwards and backwards.
Yeah.
That's the guy. Thank you. I'll take my commission.
Yeah. That's
Warner.
a great suggestion.
All right, Quaz, thank you for joining us on.
Thank you guys for having me. This was fun.
On such
I learned
epic,
a lot too.
Epic episode.
I think this is our second
Nerd
longest
Roundtable.
episode after the first Black Panther episode we did, which was 2.5 hours.
No, absolutely.
I think the last time I was on was when we were debating the James Gunn Superman movie, by the way. So I see Tawala's opinion on that movie has changed since then. So I'm all good.
Piece of shit movie.
Damn. Okay.
It was ass.
When
the squirrel showed up, it was ass.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
We're good.
Okay.
We're
All
good.
right.
And Pouring Sweat didn't make Supergirl any better.
D-Sharp, you still my guy, bro. You still my guy.
Hey, Daryl Sexton. Daryl Sexton
you know
is
that
called
movie
it.
was not good, brother.
Bring Sifu Quasi back more often.
We will. We absolutely
So
will.
Daryl Sexton has called it.
Yeah, we absolutely got to have you back on, brother. Great hanging out with you today.
Appreciate it.
And you know, in our signing off, because we're at the 2-hour mark and there's nothing else to be said. So Dr. Liz, on that note, take us out, sister girl. You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Muted.
I am on mute. Good night, everyone.
Mo Kelly.
Lilu Dallas Multipass.
McBain.
2 things. 1, put some respect on Mahershala Ali's name. And 2, Marvel. Black people are not small potatoes.
Oh.
Tom.
Where is my Deacon Frost suit?
Shit. Quaz, you got the final word.
Man, thanks for having me. But also go see Brand New Day again. I'm gonna do it. Jeez, great.
Church. Excelsior.